Hi there, everybody. My name is Crystal Robbins. I'm a Lessac master teacher sharing how I use the work, and today's addition to my channel has to do with your feet. Welcome back. It's been a while. I'm always thrilled to be able to share things with you, and if you find the content interesting, I would appreciate if you like, subscribe, say something in the video. It's always helpful. And here we go. A good friend of mine, you know who you are, I love you, I just got off the phone with you, is in need of some specific things that can help a foot recovery from a surgery. So one of the things that I suggested, since it was helpful and is in support of things he's already doing with the physical therapist and with his medical team, which is always important to make sure that you are getting all of the medical and scientific advice that you need for any condition. I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but I am someone that works with the whole body and at relieving tension in the whole body. So I just wanted to share and have video footage for him and for you perhaps, something that could be a help to you. I learned this from a colleague and another dear friend, Morné Steyn in South Africa taught me this, and I teach it to my students, and I really love it. So if you're having any sort of a foot issue or a balance issue, this can be helpful. Take a foot in a cross-legged position and just begin to massage at your heel. So you're just going to give some pressure, just a little bit, just what feels good. We're never moving with any of the work that we do into pain. We're always looking for information and awareness. No pain. Pain is not gain when you are in the recovery business of any kind. So I'm just giving a little massage, a little pressure on all around the heel of my foot. You can use your thumb, you can use a knuckle, and I'm just taking in information about that. Is there a spot that's a little more tender? Can I perceive where exactly the middle of my heel is? Can I give a little gentle massage of love there? What information am I getting from that? Maybe it just feels good, and that's all right. You could run your knuckles through that spot and just take a little time there. Don't forget to breathe. Sliding now the hands through the arch of the foot. I'll turn so that you can see what I'm doing here. Just sliding it through. We're going to do this on both sides. I'll narrate it a little more fully on the first side since it's a new thing. And I'm sliding with a little bit of pressure through the arch, just enough so that it feels good. And so I'm perhaps perceiving some of the muscle groups, some places that might feel, is there a tense spot? Is there a spot that feels like it's a little more sticky than other spots? Maybe I give a little extra attention there. And then move into the pad of your foot when it feels right for you. Once you know this, you can take as much time as you need to go through these different steps. In the pad of my foot, I am going to maybe dance my fingers across the pad, maybe notice with a little bit of pressure with my thumbs, just gentle, benevolent pressure, no pain, what that feels like to massage deep into the pad of the foot. Can I feel how each toe moves into the pad of the foot? Maybe finding that connective spot where each toe is moving into the foot, into the pad. Can I feel the space around that toe, the very root of it? And now can I perceive a spot, let's say between the big toe and the second toe and the fourth toe? Can I just kind of mark that for myself and maybe notice what I notice there when I isolate what those places feel like? And then move to the toe at large and give each toe a little bit of massage love, a little wiggle, a little stretching. Breathe. When you breathe also, you can notice while you're making your way through the toes, you can also notice, is there any place in my body that I'm holding right now while I'm doing this? And I'm just using either hand interchangeably as it feels more natural. And then maybe just a little rub on the outer and down to the ankle, and just kind of getting the overall feel of the foot into having a sense that it's been held, it's been recognized, it's been perceived. And another final thing to do is to just hold the foot and take the other hand and maybe do some tapping. Some just gentle tapping, not hard, within the range of what feels comfortable for you and not too ticklish for you, perhaps. Going all the way from the pad through the arch to the very heel that we started with. And then take the hand, and if you can weave it in between your toes, however far you can snuggle it down in there so that the fingertips are literally coming through the toes. Can you peel the toes back? Point, circle. This will be very individual based on the range of motion that you currently have. If your fingers don't go all the way down, maybe they just slightly spread the toes, you can do a very, very small movement here. Finding some space in between the toes. I can slide my fingers down all the way down to the webbing of the toes and go back and forth. And an easy little circle there. And then for that foot, since we're still on just that one foot, I'm going to position myself here so that you can see more of the foot necessarily than me. What I'm going to focus on here is just placing the foot down and seeing if I can spread my toes. And I'm just going to notice. I'm going to notice what the spread is like. Notice the space. I can see light in between the toes. I can see that there is a symmetry, sort of. Everybody's feet are shaped differently. Everybody has a different kind of structure to their foot, to their toes. I'm just going to notice kind of the freedom there, and I can compare. If I try to spread the toes of my other foot, I really don't have the same sort of freedom and expansion or capacity for that spread to happen. So that means the other foot wants to get in on the play. So take your other foot, bring it to your lap, and what we've done on one side is now going to teach the other side as well. So starting at your heel, go for it. You know what to do. Mirror neurons in your brain already know what to do. Give some massage to that heel. Notice the very center of the heel. Give a little pressure. It's a very benevolent pressure, I like to say. It's just a little bit of potency, because I am definitely not pushing or causing pain in any way. Run your knuckles over that heel, the sides of the heel, and then slide to your arch. Let your thumbs trace along from that heel, smoothing out the skin, smoothing out the muscles. Breathe. Notice if you have anything you can soften in your body while you're doing this. I find for me, my right shoulder wants to hike up sometimes, and I need to just remind myself to let that settle down. Not sure if you can hear the buckets of rain pouring behind where my phone is right now. We're in the middle of a storm train coming through California. Lots of water, lots of wind. That's why I'm all cozy today. Cold. And now sliding to the pad of your foot. Look for information here. Is there anything different as you wiggle around there? Are there any tender spots that are different from the other side? Sides of our bodies can be quite different. Again, just start to notice where each toe comes into the pad of the foot. What can you smooth? What can you find some easy release by just experimenting with the level of pressure that feels good for you. And then for yourself, just sort of see if you can touch and feel the spot between like your big toe and your second toe as it moves into the pad, and then underneath the fourth toe. Just give yourself a marker of those spots. This is going to help us to identify the tripod of our feet when we stand. A three-legged table is stronger than a four-legged table in building design. And so I really like the image of feeling that tripod in each foot when I stand. Because as someone who came out of a very extensive situation with vertigo about 5 years ago, balance was something very important to me. And continues to be so. So if you've moved, you identified those spots, move now to the toes at large and just give each one a little circle, a little massage, a little gentle pull, a little gentle release away from the base of the foot for each one. And then let's take our hand and do a little tapping. Maybe both hands. Why not? Take your fingers, weave them through your toes to where it feels good to you. And how about a little circle with the toes there? A little point and flex, a little point and flex. All just good prep work. Our feet do so much for us. They hold a lot. They don't just hold us, they hold a lot of our physical tension as well. And the health of our feet is directly connected to the health of the entire rest of our alignment and our bodies. So we want to take both sides of the feet into consideration. When you have a foot injury, we want to give this sort of attention to both sides. And how about a little pat on the outside? Let's get some heel action there, some overall just kind of awareness and love energy, if you will, to this hard-working part of our body. And I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'll do it in a slightly different position, where I'm just going to allow myself to feel the spread of my toes. Maybe this is better for you. Definitely have more spread on this foot since I did that. I still have spread here, especially with the four toes, the four smaller toes. All right. So that is a prep for what we're going to do now. So what we're going to do now, and I'm trying to see if, yeah, you should be able to see what I'm doing here. So since there are chains of fascia that extend from your feet all the way up your spine and are connected all the way up into the muscularity, the muscles, the tissues in the whole body. One of the things that I have learned from another facilitator that I do fascia experiences with, Miranda Esmond-White, she does classical Essentrics, classical stretch, and I learned this from her, and that is just a way to feel those sheets of fascia. And what she does is she will first just arch just the toes back, just pull the toes back, and then pull the ankles back, and then pull a little bit more. So we're moving from a stretch, from a flex to a point, but we're going to break it down and separate out the toes. So toes, ankles, toes, toes, ankles, a little bit more. That little bit more I think of as a little bit of muscle yawn that is really moving all the way up through the backs of the legs, and I can feel it even deep within the sacrum and into the low back here as well. Have some good, nice alignment, some dynamic alignment, so the crown of your head is reaching, floating on top, and keep exploring toes, ankles, a little bit more, toes, ankles, a little bit more. And when I'm flexing the toes, because I have prepped the toes, I'm noticing I'm continuing to have that nice spread of the toes. Take a break, rest, breathe, rest your shoulders down, and with your toes pointed, what would it be like if you just allowed yourself to let the upper body gently move towards the thighs? Just a little. Just going to feel a little more stretch there, a little more gentle muscle yawn that's happening in the low back. How about taking an arm and swooshing it? Almost like you're just rubbing a little table here. And the other. And a reach. Exhaling, inhaling, coming back up, and play with the toes one more time. Toes, ankles, toes, ankles. Do you feel like you need a little circle? Can you do a little circle to the ankle? If you get an inspiration to experiment with that kind of freedom in some joints, by all means do. That's my little foot lesson. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure always to welcome you to the channel, and let me know what you thought about this. Was there something interesting about it? Have you wanted to experiment with some of it? Did it make you sit down and give a little care to your feet? And the next time you find yourself in an upright orientation, in a standing orientation, see if you can perceive that tripod of your feet, the heel, the center of your heel, and that spot in the pad of the foot right between your big toe and your first toe and your fourth toe, so it's like a long skinny triangle, long skinny tripod. See if you can perceive that in an upright orientation. Thanks so much.